Taylor and Bob Morley.
So glad to be sitting here with you.
Oh, I'm so glad to be sitting here with you and all of you.
Hi guys. Did you lose your cushions or is it just a rattan seat?
And also another chair. I had two yesterday, remember?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Budget cuts.
But I wonder, just to get us started, how has Brussels been treating you so far?
It's been great. Everyone we've met has been really wonderful, so thank you. But other than the convention and the hotel room, that's about everything I've seen of Brussels. But it's beautiful.
Did you get a chance to eat some chocolate or drink some beer?
No.
You ate chocolate.
Okay, I've been eating a lot of chocolate, but no beer.
Well, make sure that at the airport you try them because there are specialties. So we are at a fan convention, and I was wondering, how would you describe your relationship to your fans ever since the 100th came out?
Oh, it's been ever evolving and really special.
Yeah, I think it's really amazing. It was quite overwhelming at first, but as time's gone on, I'm just really grateful that, sorry, I heard some beeping. I'm really grateful, and I'm like, it's still quite surreal that we get to travel together to different parts of the world and meet you guys, so yeah, I'm just grateful.
Yeah, same here. Like, we're so lucky that we get to do this. And for the fact that the show finished in 2020 and 4 years later we're still getting to meet you guys, we're meeting new fans of the show, old fans of the show. It's so special. And I think when we were making the 100, I didn't quite, like, it didn't dawn on me how popular it was or how, you know, much it meant to people. And it's like, since finishing and getting to spend more time with fans at conventions, I see just the impact that it's had, and yeah, I'm just in a lot of gratitude for sure.
And has something surprised you in the take that the fans got from the show? Like something they saw within and that you didn't realize while you were making it? Have fans surprised you with their reaction to the show ever since it was done?
Yeah, like the one thing that that always strikes me is that a lot of fans come up and they talk about the strength that they draw from the characters. And the characters were so resilient, and it's something that I wasn't really thinking about so much when I was making the show, but when I hear that from fans of the show and hear their stories, it's quite a powerful thing to be part of and to be, in a way, part of their journey, and them like finding the strength to move through difficult times, much like our characters did. So yeah, I always find that quite surprising and humbling, for sure.
So let's go back to the beginning. I'd like to talk about the casting process for the 100. How was it like? Can you walk us through the steps that you went through to become Clark and Bellamy? And also, can you tell us if you auditioned for other roles as well?
Yeah, we both had very different journeys with the auditioning process. I was one of the first cast. I think I was the first cast. And I did like all of them, like the normal audition, the producer session, the studio session, the network session, and there weren't any other Bellamys. I think I was the only choice for a while there. I saw a bunch of different Clarks, a bunch of different Finns, a bunch of different Octavias, and I even got asked to audition for Finn, and I said no. And a bunch of different Wells, actually, because Wells was going to be a much bigger character. So yeah, it was somewhat stressful. They flew a guy in from New York to be the other person to read for Bellamy, so that was interesting. But yeah, it was a process for sure, and I don't think that will ever happen again, because the way that things are cast now, it's since COVID that you hardly do in-person auditioning. But like, quite honestly, when you do your studio and network back in the day, you would be in a room and there would be an auditorium like this, and there'd be just a light on you and you wouldn't see all the people up there, but they'd all be in suits kind of looking at each other, and Yeah, it's scary, but that doesn't happen anymore.
Do you prefer the current process?
No, I much prefer to be in the room. I feel like I'm much more comfortable, and you can get a sense of me, and I can get a sense of the person I'm working with. Yeah, it's been a...
Yeah, it's all on Zoom now.
Everything's on Zoom, and it's just not... It's not the same.
Yeah.
What do you feel got lost now that we're in this new system of the Zoom casting? What's lost? What are the missed opportunities there?
I feel like you can really read energy when you're in a room with someone, and then when that's not there, when you're talking to a screen, it's really, especially chemistry tests now.
Yeah, doing chemistry
them through
read.
a screen, and it's very hard to find.
And sometimes
chemistry.
they're like, "Oh, don't look at the person. Look off to at this direction, so then we can cut it together later." And you're like, "Well, how is this even a chemistry read? You're not even in the room with people. Like, it's one thing. Like, how do you know you're going to want to spend 14 hours a day in a room with someone after a 2-minute video call? Like, it's just a bizarre process.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
Let's start a petition to go back to the old system. But I wonder about your casting process then, Eliza.
My casting process, from what I know, they had been looking for Clark because you read with people who were going to play Clark, right?
I saw them, yeah.
So I came to the party really late. I didn't audition at all. I just got a phone call saying that the creator and other producers on board had seen a self-tape that I had put down like a year beforehand, playing a completely different character for a movie that I didn't get. And they said, that's who we want. So they just said, do you want to come into the CW, like in Burbank, and meet with us? And I met with them, and then they said, have we found our girl? And I was like, I guess so.
And was it a clear yes for you?
And that was it.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Mine was like weeks of just hard slog.
Mine was like a half-hour chat. Thank God, because you know what? If I had actually gone into that process, I don't think I would have gotten the role, because I get so nervous in auditions that they wouldn't have seen a good performance, and I don't think they would have wanted me.
And did you want the show right away, or did you take your time before saying yes?
Oh, I wanted it right away. I loved the script. I really did, and I loved Clark.
Yeah, I think it was one of the best pilots that I'd read that pilot season.
Yeah, it was an awesome pilot.
Was it the sci-fi elements? Was it the character? What caught your excitation?
I think the story was really clear, and it grabbed you right away. You know?
And it was something new. Like, I was reading a lot of like vampire stuff and like superhero things. Much like it's exactly the same right now.
Yeah.
But it was a new concept, and I think
it was
the Jasper being like killed in the end that I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, cool.
A shock factor, for sure.
Yesterday, during the Q&A, we touched upon the conversation on how everything was super fast on set, and that you didn't really have time to pause while you were filming. Did you feel the need to create a system for you just to hold on? Just how did you keep on with that rhythm that comes with such a huge machine, such a huge production?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Like you just kind of, once you get the pace of the show, you just get into a rhythm and roll with the punches. And I mean, I've got to say, there were a lot of like sleepless nights and long hours, and we were like, I mean, maybe not you, but I was in my 20s, and I think that helped a lot.
How?
Because when you're in your 20s, you can just go and go and go and go. You know, now I don't know if I'd be able to keep up.
Even on that, I think we touched on it yesterday. Working on like Home and Away and Neighbours, like they move fast, like really fast. If you take more than 2 takes, then like
we shot an episode a day on those.
Yeah, I got an episode a day.
Well, there's an episode every day on TV.
Yeah,
right.
Well, actually, you were shooting 10 separate episodes in a week. when you're on Home and Away and Neighbours. So you get used to having fast turnover, and you know, if you did a take that you didn't like, you're not going to get to do it again. So you just got to accept to keep moving forward. And I think that having that experience and coming onto the 100, where if you went over like 4 takes, people start looking at their watches. And so I think for us, having had the experience of being like such a fast turnaround, the 100 didn't, well, I just come from doing Neighbours and then jumped onto the 100, so it didn't feel too different for me. But I know that for other actors that had worked in North America before, having 4 takes is like, oh, I'm just warming up. Whereas like, take 1 should be like your best, you know? So I think that having had that experience from being on Australian soaps, you don't have the luxury of, you know, 6+ takes. It's more like get it done in 1 or 2, or it's time to move on. So I think that might have subconsciously helped us move through the show.
Do you find that rhythm, that fast pace, is something that you actually prefer now, or is it always better to have all those takes and find the right interpretation?
I like to move things along. Yeah, I do. I don't want to spend too much time, because you can get in your head and start to question your whole performance if it's going too slowly. So
yeah,
I do like the fast pace.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think the longer you spend on it, the more time you can get tripped up in your own performance and lose energy.
Yeah.
And that's tough when you're doing it. Like for the 13th time, you got to be like you got to remember, oh, this is the first time I'm doing it. This is the first time I've ever said these words.
Yeah.
We
call it fresh bread.
Yeah.
Like if we're, you know, when you like break into a fresh loaf of bread and like the steam comes out and it smells amazing. Mm-hmm. So when we're on set
and it's feeling a bit stale.
And it feels stale, like we'll say to each other, fresh bread, come on, fresh bread.
Yeah.
So sorry, David Fincher, I guess Eliza and Bob won't be working with
I
a director
mean,
who's
someone
like
like
100 takes.
I'll do it for him.
Yeah, I've definitely worked on other shows where they're into the idea of play and that let's develop and figure out what this may mean, and that's cool in its own right as well. It's just like depends on, yeah, once you set your mind to whichever type of style of director wants to do their thing, then you can usually get behind it. But yeah.
I'm looking at the audience now, and we're going to go with the first questions. I see you're ready to ask one. Please come closer to the mic and tell us your question, please.
Hi. I had a question, but when I was standing here, it actually got answered. So I do have another question. So the Trigada slang, I was wondering how difficult was it to learn it actually? Did you make a lot of mistakes when saying things? And I was wondering if you can say, for example, I love you in Trigada slang, if you ever learned it.
I can't remember what it is. I struggled with Trig, for sure. It was hard. What is I love you? Do you know? No. Yeah, I really struggled with it and I wasn't good. Do you know who was amazing at it? Was Adina. She really, I really believed that the language was real when who played Indra, when she did it. She was incredible. I found it really hard to learn and then very hard to say.
Yeah, I was kind of grateful because Bellamy didn't really have much interest in learning Trig, so I didn't have to say too much of it. Yeah, and I actually liked it because Bellamy didn't know it for such a long time until he started dating Echo, that whenever they were talking that he didn't really understand, so I didn't really have to listen.
Nice trick. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll learn I love you, I will.
Will you?
Yeah, I'll find out, because I know it. I do know it somewhere in the back of my head. I'll figure it out.
Let's move to the next question. Yeah, on this side, please.
Hello, I'm Jess.
Hey, Jess.
If you could swap lives with any character that you've played, which one would you pick, and what is the first thing you would do as them?
Swap lives with a character. Yeah, I reckon you should play the one from the Christmas Inheritance.
Ellen Langford.
Yeah, she's got money.
Yeah, true. Yeah, she's inherited a very lucrative business.
Yeah.
What would I do as Ellen Langford? Well, no, because I would want to be Hannah Carson.
Oh yeah, Hannah is awesome.
Yeah, from Quantum Leap. And if I were her, oh my gosh, I don't know what the first thing I would do. I would go to her wardrobe because I was obsessed with her outfits, and I would just try on everything. That would be the first thing I would do.
I don't know. I haven't played any like fun characters like that. I don't know. I guess I'd probably just want to swap lives with Peter from Love Me because he lives in Melbourne. And yeah.
Go see your family.
I'd go see my family. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another question.
Hello. Do you have any funny question? Do you have any funny story from when you were filming The 100 with Eliza or someone else?
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, do you have any funny stories from when you were filming The 100 with Alicia? Or anyone else?
Or anyone else. Yeah, I mean, we there are so many stories, but it's so funny. Every time I get asked this question, I go blank, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah,
It's weird, isn't it?
There's a lot of like personal jokes that we found hilarious
That
that
no one
wouldn't
else-
translate to, you know, like this was a funny thing when this happened. I mean, there was that incident where we were all filming, we were in a quarry, and Eliza was the only one standing there, and we were all standing back here with like Ice Nation, and there was this, as we were shooting, this bear.
Big bear.
A big bear came walking out right behind Eliza, and she couldn't see it because she was looking at us, and we're all like,
And everyone was
come. There was that.
And I was like, hi.
Oh, there's a bear behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we had some. I remember when Ricky Whittle was with us. He used to start some dance parties, like out in the forest. So he would like bring a speaker and put on music when we were on our breaks, and everyone would break out and dance, and that was pretty fun. Yeah. And then he would always try to get me to dance, and I was too embarrassed by my dance moves that
Right. I was never invited to one of these dance parties.
What would your dance moves be like? What's
My dance?
Your favorite dance?
Well, right now, our favourite dance is probably the skeleton shake.
The Skeleton Shake
by
Danny
Danny
Go. We do it with our little son,
Yes.
and it's just, yeah.
It's like this.
Yeah. The Skeleton Shake.
Yeah, because
And he
our
does
little
it.
boy does it too, and it's so cute. But
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we move to the next question, please?
Hi.
Hey.
So you've done some podcasts recently. If you were to host your own podcast, what would the subject or genre be?
Ooh, if we were to do a podcast, we've
talked about
the
it,
idea
doing it.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would either be like 100 podcasts,
Yeah.
because that's the obvious
Yeah, that's
choice.
what most people
That's
know
what
us from.
people would probably tune into. But I mean, we're both very passionate about mental health and
Yeah, that for sure.
mindfulness and things like that. So I mean, that would be our.
I reckon I would just pull up. I think I would like to do a podcast where because I'm on Reddit all the time, and then just be like, read the headline, read some of the comments, and then have Eliza's reactions to that. Because she shows little to no interest in the things that I'm interested in. And so it would be about me trying to convince her that it's interesting.
That's a great podcast.
Yeah.
I'd listen to that.
Would you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
Hello. Films are notorious for having end credit songs. So at the end, what would your end credit song be?
Of a film? Of like...
About the film of our lives.
Sure.
You mean like at my funeral? Is that what you mean?
I wasn't thinking it like that, but sure.
Let's say the music you would share with us before going back to Australia.
What would my end credit song be?
Mine, like the first thing that pops into my head is exit music for a film by Radiohead.
Oh, nice. Mine would probably be anything The Shins, because I love The Shins, and I think that they make excellent soundtrack music. Can see there's a lot of Shins fans.
Yeah.
But I love The Shins, so yeah, New Slang, that song, yeah.
Is music something you think about when you're doing a scene, you're doing a project, or is it just a little surprise cherry on top at the end?
It's something that we are thinking, well, we've written a short film that we're going to be filming in the new year, and music is a big thing that we've never really had to think about before. But it's exciting. We're working with a composer and like,
having to give them guide tracks and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really fun.
But definitely when I'm working or doing a first read of something, I will like to kind of just put my headphones in and listen to like either soundtracks or just to kind of be fully immersed in what I'm reading.
Yeah, you do that. It's cool.
We have many more questions, please.
Hello, if you could swap characters on the 100 for just one episode, what's the first heroic thing you would do as each other person character?
Oh, for one episode?
Just for one.
I was really jealous of Richard getting to do the scene where he was in the bunker on his own. I would change for that because I just think that that's a scene that I'd love to do. So Murphy for, I can't remember what episode it was, but you know when he was in the bunker.
It was the opening scene of season 3.
Yeah, then that.
Yeah, that was, fun fact, that was Richard Harmon's favourite thing to shoot in the whole series.
Never told me that.
I think it would be really interesting to swap with Ali for an episode and be an AI. This is more of a robot. Yeah, and what would I do? I mean, I'd probably stop being such a psycho. She was crazy.
She was.
You know. But I don't know, I would go to the City of Light and like hang out there because I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. Let's move to the other side of the room. Hello. Please go ahead with your question.
Hello. So what would you say is the biggest misconception or something that people find surprising about the other show? So something that... Yes, for you, him, and for him, you.
Something that's surprising or misconception?
Or a misconception or something that people are like, oh, okay.
Oh.
There was something I found out about you the other day that I was surprised by, but I can't remember. I can't recall. But I mean, the most common thing that I hear people say that, like when we're at conventions with you, is that one, you're married to me and we have a kid, and the other one, which is just so mundane, is that you're left-handed.
Oh yeah, I hear that a lot.
People are like, what? You're left-handed?
People are surprised
like
by that.
That's still a really surprise.
It's, I mean...
That's a really big part of your identity.
We're kind of a rare breed, you know, the lefties. We have a real kinship with each other, left-handed people. Yeah.
Wouldn't know.
I mean, I don't know, Bob like bears so much of himself to the world and shows like his sensitivity and vulnerability.
But they don't know that I'm actually none of those things.
You are, and so I think it's just, it's more of that. But also, I don't know if people realize just how funny you are.
Just how good looking I can be at times.
He makes me laugh, like belly laugh, every day. At some point of the day, like you are the funniest person I know. Maybe people don't know how funny you are. So there you go.
That's just the people like belly laughing. Up to you.
Hi.
Hey.
The question has kind of already been asked, but maybe you can give us another answer. Including all your careers, not only the hundreds, what was the weirdest moment you had to leave? Something really embarrassing at the moment, but now that is fun.
An embarrassing moment, like on a show?
Maybe something that didn't happen like how it had to happen.
Or like an embarrassing mistake on set or something like that, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm sure I've had plenty. I'm a very awkward and clumsy person, so.
Yeah, I mean, my whole, I don't even want to give people the idea, but I did a singing show in Australia. And that whole thing is pretty embarrassing. So, but you know what, like, hats off, like, it took a lot of courage to do that. Maybe it was just naivety doing it, but yeah, looking back and like, when these guys, like when I was on the 100 and people were like, what, you did a singing show? And they'd look it up, that was, it was still pretty embarrassing, so yeah.
And I did, now you've reminded me.
Oh yeah.
There was a show in Australia called Australia's Brainiest Kid, I think.
No, are you smarter than a 5th grader?
No, it was a show. There was that was a show, but there was also a show called Australia's Brainiest Kid, and then they did a special for charity called Australia's Brainiest Neighbour, and I was on Neighbours, so it was a few of the cast got invited to be on this show, and I seemed like the least brainiest person. I answered every question wrong or I passed, and it was I remember just being absolutely humiliated.
My favourite humiliated one for you.
Oh God.
There's plenty, okay.
Was when there's an awards ceremony called the Logies in Australia.
Oh no!
And Neighbours they had their 20-year anniversary. And I mean, you might have to look it up on YouTube.
No, you don't.
But they did a whole song about, like it was like this musical number, and they all came out all dressed in white singing about neighbours. And that was it was the first Logies I ever went to, and I was like, what the hell is this? And so it's good. That's good, that one.
Luckily you don't really see,
It's such like bad quality, but I see it into my brain because I was there.
He used to turn it on, like if we ever had like friends over, he would put it on YouTube just to remind me.
Yeah, but you lived it and I was there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was before we knew each other.
And that would never be the end credit song then.
Oh God, I hope not.
Thank you. Let's move there.
Hi. CW shows are quite known for going off the rails the more seasons they get. Were there any scripts that you read for the next season that you were kind of surprised how kind of out there it went?
Not really. I think our show was always like, whoa, you know, like every season it was something kind of crazy and new and like difficult to kind of get my head around. But yeah, I mean, I think season 7 was the most complicated. Like it was hard for me to follow in terms of just all the worlds and all the factions of people and the time jumps and you know that was tricky for me. I just honestly was like, I'm just coming along for the ride. I didn't really. It was tricky, right?
Yeah. And I feel like in season 6 it wasn't more like
6-2 was tricky. Yeah.
Like season 5, you know, 1 to 5 it was kind of we were telling the same story, and then season 6 we were kind of reinventing the wheel. And whenever we were talking about Sanctum and like the dome and all that stuff, it wasn't like, oh, what the hell is this? I was more like, how are we going to shoot this? How is this going to work? Like, and this is going to cost a lot of money to make this set and to make this thing look real and to do all that stuff. So those things, like, you know, anytime there's special effects involved, we as actors, we never know how it's going to look at the end. Yeah. So like there are certain times where they're like one of the episodes, it's like light this flare and then hold it up, and then you see a cabin full of like dead people, and I was like, okay, cool. So I light the flare, I hold it up, and we all are like, whoa, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, and then
you watch the show, and this cabin is huge, massive. Yeah. It's like the size of a city, and our reactions are like, huh. I'm like, so whenever there's special effects, that's when I'm like,
tell me exactly
like,
how
what
big
are we doing?
Yeah. I know, that was a big surprise, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And like, there's always like that, and Viz effects try and give you what is going to happen. They try and give you a guide, but like, you know, having been director, then seeing what happens on the other side where producers are just like, make it bigger, make it crazy, and you're like, that's not what we were told we were doing. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up to you.
Hi. I was wondering if you could have been in any TV show or movie, what would it be?
A wish list. Let's go.
Okay. I would have loved to have been in Harry Potter. Because what an incredible world to be a part of. Yeah.
That's my favorite of the franchises.
Yeah, me too. Like, it's just, yeah, so magical. Love it.
I think like the artist in me would have loved to have been in something like The Sopranos, but the human being in me would have loved to have been in something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Like doing a comedy.
Yeah.
Would be so much fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I would have loved to have been in New Girl. Yeah. I love comedy.
Yeah. It's a different feel being on a comedy set to being on like a heavy drama sci-fi set. Like, the aim of the game is to make people laugh. And that's a funny place to turn up to work. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to this side.
Hi. What did you think of Lexi dying?
What did I think of?
When Lexi died.
When Lexa died. Oh my goodness.
I thought, geez, they should have got her under a longer contract.
Yes. They really
Alicia
should
was
have.
phenomenal.
Alicia was phenomenal. Well, she had to leave us for Fear the Walking Dead, which was very sad. And when we shot her death, like, you know, the only terms I was thinking in were, you know, oh, she has to leave the show and this is the way that they're doing it. Not at all grasping the effect that it was going to have on the fandom. And I wish that Lexa had gone out differently, because it hurt a lot of people. But I really didn't. I didn't grasp that until it was too late. I had no.
I think that's true of like a lot of the people that left the show, like even with Lincoln as well. It's like there becomes this pragmatic thing where people have contracts elsewhere and they've just got to go, and there's not this oversight of like, how will that affect the audience?
Right.
What does that mean?
I know.
What does that mean for your character and whatnot? You know, and
it was really upsetting and sad to see how it affected the audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know that for everyone involved in that if they could go back and change it, they would 100%. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Up to you.
Hi. My friend and I like to call Bellamy and Clark our spiritual parents, because we can relate a lot to both of them. And I was wondering if there was any character in any series or movies that you watched and was like, wow, I can relate so much to them.
Wow.
I don't know. Like
Who would be our spiritual parents?
Well, not spiritual parents, but like when I was younger, I definitely kind of related to those outsiders, like Wolverine, Raphael out of the Turtles. As I got older, I definitely felt like Dr. Manhattan was a character that spoke to me in a way of just this existential way of not really feeling like I fit in. Now, I'm not too sure. Anyone who's actually like playing a parent right now, like now becoming a parent, and anything to do with like, you know, their children and parents, it's just like, so, you know, those things shift over time, for sure.
Yeah, I used to think that I really related to like Jessica Day from New Girl, because, you know, I was kind of awkward and nerdy and lived with roommates and like, you know, that's what I related to for years. But then now it's like watching that show, I don't relate anymore in a way, you know. It's you know, just because now that we're
times change,
married and have a baby, it's like it's different. Yeah, and like you said, now it's like if we watch something, anything with parents in it, we're just like, yes, I can so relate.
Yeah, like I was watching, I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and James Marsden's kind of like Sonic's dad, and I was crying on the aeroplane watching Sonic. Like that, yeah, that's how much I've changed.
Not so Dr. Manhattan anymore.
No, definitely not.
Beware of Home Alone, I would say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up to you.
Hello, I was wondering, as fans, we all love your chemistry and we always hold on to all the crumbs that we got. And I was wondering if the fact that you fell in love throughout the show helped, and all the times that you had like eye contact and everything, was it the producer like telling you to do that, or do you think it helped and they were like, maybe tone it down, we need less, or yeah, if that helped?
I mean, it was always kind of, early on anyway, it was written that, or it was suggested that there was something between Clark and Bellamy, and we were just, you know, at that time just doing what was on the page, and luckily we worked together so well that it came alive. Because sometimes when it's written on the page and you don't connect with the other actor, it falls flat. Like you can't, there's just not that thing, you know? And we always had that thing. And we were just really lucky in that respect. But yeah, there was, I remember in season 7, once we were together and we had gotten married, all of a sudden it was like,
they were like so worried about it.
Turn it down.
It was almost offensive. It was like, guys, we've been playing these characters for 7 years.
Yeah.
And now because we're married, you think we can't control ourselves? It's like, come on. But it's more about that chemistry and all that stuff, yes, but it's more about a working relationship. Like I would say I have the same chemistry on screen that I do with Richard as I do Eliza, because I trust that performer.
Yeah.
You trust the person you're working with. Alicia's the same. I had no lines with Alicia, we just had a look and I was like, she's here, she's present, and she cares about the work.
Yeah.
So that chemistry comes from people who are connected to the work.
Yeah.
You know, some actors on screen have the greatest chemistry on screen but don't get along as friends. But it's because you care about the work. You have this common goal. Yeah.
I think we were just really lucky for all those years to get to have that trust and to have that chemistry and to also actually like working together.
Yeah.
And then, you know.
Yeah.
It was super cool. Like, I mean, I can't imagine anybody else having that with anybody else.
And I don't know whether it's like that enhanced the other or whatever it was, but after 6 years of trusting this person, and like for me, and I don't know for other actors, but going to work, that space is a place where you can be vulnerable with your emotions. Like I'm not, like if I watch Bellamy, he's quite an emotional guy. Yeah. In reality, a lot of that stuff I wouldn't voice, you know? So when I get to work, I get to express that as long, like, and if there's someone who's listening and is receptive, it's a really powerful thing. And it doesn't really happen in real life. Like, there's something that happens on set that opens yourself up to be vulnerable and to have emotions, which isn't always the way it is in reality.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Thank for that question.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's you?
Hi. Will you guys ever be together on screen again?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, we'd love to work with her. We're making something together in January.
Yeah.
But I won't be on screen.
He'll be behind the camera.
Yeah.
But I'm almost more excited about that. Like, when I got to work with Bob as a director, when he directed in season 6, I just saw him come alive in a way that was so incredible. He's just so good at directing. And I'm really, really excited to work together in that capacity again, because he's amazing at it, and yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm really excited. If anything, I find it more fulfilling than acting, but it's much harder to do.
Maybe that's why it's more fulfilling, because it is more like it's challenging, you know.
Yeah.
It challenges you in a different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the opportunity came along, back to your
We're
question.
definitely there's certain things like that auditions that come up, and like I'm doing something with this other person that's a love interest, and I'm like, why isn't Eliza reading for this? Like, why aren't the producers, like, she's right there where we work as a team.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely want to work together again.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And time for our last question on this side of the room. Unfortunately, after that, we will have to cut the session.
Why and how did you start acting?
Oh, how did you start acting?
How did I start acting?
And why?
And why? I think, I kind of touched on it before. Like, I started acting when I was at school, but like I mentioned before, like, being on stage and performing was a safe place to explore my emotions. That's, if I was to look back and go, why is it so important to me? As someone who has struggled with mental health condition and, mood disorders and whatnot, being on stage was a safe place to explore those things that I was too afraid to express in reality. As I've gotten older, I've just fallen in love with the craft more and more. I knew I loved it for a reason, and I loved it because it was fun when I was younger. But in retrospect and looking back as an adult, I realised what it was. It was a place for me to be able to explore my feelings and to do it in a place where it was okay. It was okay to cry. It was okay to be mad. It was okay to be sad. It was okay to, have conflicting ideas to the other person because it was on the script, and I could feel all those things without hurting anyone, without hurting myself. So, there is a deeper connection to performing than just being like, I want to be on stage, I want to be seen, I want to be heard. It was like, I want what I'm feeling to be expressed. That's why I love it. What got me started was because it was fun, and now I'm in it. I can't live without it, so yeah.
I just really like it. It's just really fun. That's my why. I actually don't know why. It's just what I am drawn to, and I started so young that, I was a baby, so I loved it then. I love it now. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's just, that's it.
Well, thank you, and we love the 100. We love having you here. Thank you very much. It was very inspiring listening to you. Your heroes are still in the convention all day long. Thank you for being here with us. You can leave through this door, that door, and again, thank you for being here in Belgium with us.
Thank you.
Actually, we need to cut the session. Scream it out.
You guys know we love you all so much.
Thank you.
You might love me or hate me for this, but Eliza's birthday is in 4 days.
Oh yeah!
Can everyone sing happy birthday with me?